Okay, the title is Mechanism of Heartbeat. Okay, so you also know about the structure of heart. We already discussed about the structure. Okay, so now how the heartbeat? So macam mana dia berdenyut ya heartbeat ni? Okay, so the heart is made up of cardiac muscle. Okay, that intersect and are connected with one another. Do you still remember the structure of cardiac muscle? Dia macam kalau dia macam interconnected kan with each other, dia macam tu. So dia ada cell lah. So this is cardiac muscle. Dia very strong structure. Okay, because they pump the heart. Okay, so intersect and connected tu maksud dia. They connected with one another. Okay, so next, this arrangement allow electric impulses to spread rapidly through the heart and at the same time stimulate the cardiac muscle cell to contract simultaneously and uniformly. Okay, so kalau you all nak tahu, okay, in the cardiac muscle, okay, there is electric impulses. So these electric impulses, okay, will make the structure of cardiac muscle to contract, okay, or relaxes simultaneously. Maksudnya dia secara seragam. Dia ada bunyi dia kan, lap dap. So dia seragam. Kalau you tengok dia cara dia bergerak pun you nampak dia uniform. Okay, so because of the impulses, yeah. Okay, so cardiac muscle are myogenic. Okay, so this means that the heart contract and relaxes without receiving any impulse signal from the nervous system. So maksudnya dia pumping ni, okay, this is not controlled by the brain. Dia tidak dikawal oleh otak, okay, but it can contract and relaxes itself, okay, myogenic, secara dia sendiri. Okay, itu kita panggil myogenic. Okay, heart contract and relaxes without receiving any impulse from the nervous system. So it can contract itself. Okay, dia boleh contract and relax by itself sendiri. Okay, sebab itulah kalau kita buat operation, okay, we take out the heart, okay, from human or others animal. Nanti kalau kita ada rezeki, kita boleh buat dissection of frog. Ada student sampai nangis-nangis bila kita dissect frog, kesian kat dia. I nak buat pun kadang-kadang I fikir banyak kali. Tapi 2 tahun ni tak buat kan, I rasa macam okey lah. Kalau buat sebenarnya dia satu experience untuk you all. Okay, tapi kalau kita buat memang kita akan terpaksa menggunakan haiwan tu lah. Okay, so if we take out the heart, kita keluarkan jantung dia, kita akan nampak heart dia pumping. Walaupun katak tu dah mati dah. Okay, kita keluarkan dia akan pumping for a few minutes. Lama juga tau. Ada student yang macam takut lah tengok. Because of this, ini dia punya sifat dia. Okay, myogenic. Dia boleh pumping sendiri. Okay, so next. Sama juga dengan manusia lah. Manusia pun dia akan pumping kalau dia keluar daripada jantung. Sebab itulah kalau orang curi jantung, dia ambil daripada mangsa yang di kidnap ke apa kan, dia simpan dalam tempat yang ada ais yang boleh simpan jantung tu, and then dia boleh guna for others people sebab dia hidup, ya. Okay, so next. Tanya apa? Tutup pintu, ada kelas. Okay, if the cardiac muscle are stored in a warm oxygenated solution, okay, that contain nutrients, this muscle will contract and relax rhythmically on their own. Ini I cakap tadi, kalau kita letak dalam tempat yang ada ais, ada oxygen, and then ada nutrient, so it can survive. Dia boleh survive. Okay, because it can contract and relax rhythmically on their own. Ini apa nama dia tadi? Myogenic. Put in your bio word. Masuk dalam bio word. Okay, ni perkataan baru. Myogenic. Okay, next. Blood circulation in human. Okay, so kita nak tengoklah macam mana structure heart tu dia pumping, and then dia akan affect the blood circulation. Alright, so the produced force, okay, that enable blood to circulate in human is generated by the pumping of the heart. okay, and the contraction of the skeletal muscle. Okay, kita tahu kan in our blood, in our body, okay, the blood is circulate, okay, dia bergerak lah, okay, move around our body. Okay, so this is because of pumping of the heart. Okay, the heart will pump the blood. That's why the blood can flow. And at the same time, the skeletal muscle also contract. You tahu tak skeletal muscle ni apa? All the muscle in our body. So when it contract, so it can make our blood move. Yeah, they flow. Okay, in our vessel. Okay, so this is the structure of the heart. Kan, you all dah tahu dah, atrium, okay, ventricle, okay, vena cava, aorta, okay, so semua kita dah belajar. Cuma hari ni I nak add on sikit, I nak tambah, okay, a few structure, okay, put in your bio word, okay. The first word is sinoatrial node. Ini perkataan baru untuk you all, okay, sinoatrial node, okay. Next, atrioventricular node. Okay, kalau you tak ingat nama panjang, okay, kita boleh guna SA node. Kita accept dalam exam. SA ni maksud dia sinoatrial node. Dia macam ada satu titik dekat sini, dekat kita punya right atrium. Ada function dia, nanti cikgu explain. Okay, then kita ada satu lagi dot dekat sini. Okay, ada satu lagi dot dekat sini. Nampak ni? This is atrioventricular node. Kita panggil juga sebagai, kalau tak ingat nama panjang, you tulis AV node. Okay. Yang ini SA di atas sikit. Okay, SA node. Okay, below here, AV node. Atrioventricular node. Okay, so these two nodes, okay, located in our right atrium. Okay, right atrium. Dia ada function dia. Yeah. Okay, so next. Look at this. Okay, so you can see one line. You nampak tak line yang yellow color ni? Okay, below the AV node ni, they continue from the AV node. So we call it as bundle of His. Okay, bundle of His. Right. So then from the bundle of His, you nampak dia branches. Okay, branches dekat sini, kat bawah ni kan? Okay, sekejap I tutup ni. Nampak ni? Nama dia Purkinje fibers. Okay, Purkinje fibers ni dia branches from the bundle of His. Dia ada kecil-kecil ni. Okay, dia dah spread macam tu. Okay, so there are 4 names hari ni. Ya?
Cikgu dah stop presenting.
Oh ya ke? Okay, sekejap I nak larikan dia punya tu, tiba-tiba dah hilang terus pula. Okay, sekejap. Thank you. Okay, boleh Okay, so hari ni ada the 5 dah. Okay, 5 new words. Okay, yang tadi myogenic, so it can contract and relax without impulses from the brain or from the nervous system. So hari ni, yang ni pula structure of the heart that control the process of pumping. Okay, SA node, AV node, so both are in the right atria, and then you can see the bundle of His. Okay, ada satu line here, bundle of His, and then bundle of His ni dia branches, dia jadi apa? Purkinje fibers. Okay, you all masih muda, you cepat ingat. I dulu pun belajar benda ni, I paksa diri untuk hafal. Okay, kita ada banyak memori dalam kita punya brain. Jangan kata susah nak hafal. Tak ada. You all masih muda. Masih boleh hafal banyak benda. Okay. So, bundle of His. Bawah ni Purkinje fibers. Nampak? Fibers. Sebab tu nama dia fibers. Sebab dia banyak branch. Fiber Okay, Purkinje fibers. Okay. Now, we look what happened during the process of pumping. Okay. So, kita tengok sini Okay, the contraction of the heart, okay, is initiated and coordinated by the pacemaker. Ada lagi word baru, pacemaker pula. Okay, so what is pacemaker? Okay, so pacemaker tadi kita dah sebut dah. SA node dengan AV node. So there are the pacemaker. Okay, so the pacemaker is a group of specific heart muscle cell that initiates the rate of heart contraction and is located at the right atrium wall. Okay, so inilah structure yang initiate the rate of heart contract and relaxes. Okay, maksudnya dia yang control pumping of heart. Okay, so this structure that stimulate the impulses. Structure ni lah yang hasilkan impulses tadi. Okay, so this is called as pacemaker. Okay, initiated and coordinated. Initiate ni maksudnya dia yang memulakan. Initiate and coordinated. Okay, the contraction of the heart. Okay, so this is called as pacemaker. Okay, so pacemaker generate electrical impulses. Okay, that spread rapidly through both wall of the atrium and causes the atrium to contract rhythmically. Okay, so apa structure pacemaker? Dia ada dua tadi, SA node dengan AV node, both in the right atrium. Okay, so the pacemaker is called, ada sebut tadi, okay, SA, okay, sinoatrial node. Okay, so kita tengok first proses dia, apa yang berlaku. Okay, so the first thing, okay, first process dia, SA node, okay, generates electrical impulses. Nampak ada dot ni kan? This is our right atrium. Okay, so dia yang generate impulses. Nampak ada arrow ni? Arrow ni maksudnya dia tengah generate. Okay, so they generate the impulses. Okay, so this is the starting point. Ini point yang pertama. Okay, next. Electrical impulses spread rapidly in both the atria. Okay, causing the atria to contract simultaneously. Okay, so when the impulses spread, they spread to the both atria. Dua-dua ni kena. Walaupun SA node only in the right side, tapi yang sebelah kiri pun also can receive the impulses. Okay, so both atria will contracts. Dia mengecut bila dia terima the impulses. Okay, so simultaneously maksudnya at the same time. Yeah, so the atria contract simultaneously. So the contraction of the atria helps to pump blood into the ventricle. So blood in the atria will move to the ventricle. Okay, when the atria contracts, so the blood will flow. Okay, dia akan flow to the ventricle. Okay, siapa yang menyebabkan atria tadi contract? Impulses from the SA node. Okay, okay, next. Number 3. Okay, the electrical impulses reach the AV node. I sebut AV node je lah sebab panjang ni, atrioventricular node. Okay, so the electrical impulses reach the AV node. So the electrical impulses spread through the bundle of His Purkinje fibers up to the apex of the heart. Okay, so once they contract, girls, so the impulses will go to the AV node. So AV node ni, it will receive the impulses. Okay, so then it will go to the bundle of His. Bundle of His and then all the Purkinje fibers. Okay, so dia akan lalu dekat apex of the heart. Maksudnya sampai dia jumpa hujung jantung. Ventricle ni dia quite large, size dia agak besar. That's why dia ada bundle of His and then dia ada Purkinje fibers to spread the impulses. Nampak tak? Dia macam ada satu garisan. Okay, nama dia tadilah kita dah sebut tadi kan, bundle of His dengan Purkinje fibers. So it will spread all the impulses through the ventricle sampai dekat apex of the heart. Apex ni maksudnya hujung jantung. So all the ventricle will receive the impulses. So what will happen? So the electrical impulses spread from the apex of the heart to the whole ventricle wall. As the result, the ventricle contract to pump blood out to the lungs and body. So lastly, all the ventricle also will contract and then it will pump the blood to the aorta and then to the pulmonary artery. So satu akan pergi lungs, satu lagi akan pergi to the whole body. Alright, so this is how the process of pumping of heart. Okay, do you understand? Boleh faham tak macam mana proses pumping ni? Do you have any question?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, betul. Okay, listen. Girls, soalan ni dia tak pernah lagi keluar essay SPM. Soalan syllabus ni syllabus yang lama, sama macam KBSM. Tapi never come out in SPM, tak pernah keluar. I tak tahu kenapa tak pernah keluar lah. Mungkin soalan ni agak susah ke apa. Susah ke? Saya tak susah lah. Kalau keluar pun I rasa you boleh jawab one by one. Except kalau you lupa the name of the structure. You will lost your mark. Okay, sebab nama dia bundle of his, Purkinje fibers. So you need to know the name. And then the first process must be starting from the SA node, the pacemaker tu. That generate the impulses. Okay, boleh ya? Okay, so nanti paper ni ada bagi kan, you fill in the blanks, right? Okay. So, now, okay, what is the sound of the heart? Okay, listen girls, you dah belajar masa form 3, just kita repeat again je. Okay, the sound is lap, dap. Bukan dap, dip, dup. Ada lagu dangdut kan, dap, dip, dup lah. Salah tu. Okay, bunyi dia apa? You as a biology student, science student, you need to know. The sound of the heart is lap dap. Ada yang sebut loop dup. Mana-mana lah. Tapi I sebut lap dap. Lap dap. Okay, so kita nak tengok. Okay, when the sound happen, bila dia berbunyi macam tu. Okay, lap and dap. Okay, so we know that we have two type of valve. Right, in the left and the right side. So kalau left side, yang ni ada ni right side, right side tricuspid valve. Kalau left side, we have the bicuspid valve, right? Okay, so the first lap sound is produced when the tricuspid valve and bicuspid valve close. Okay, so maksudnya now darah ni dia dah masuk dalam ventricle. Okay, so the blood is in the ventricle. So what happened to the valve? Okay, so the both valve, tricuspid and bicuspid will close. So the sound is lap. So lap akan bunyi dulu. Baru ada bunyi dap. Ya. Okay, so next, okay, semilunar valve. We have semilunar valve. Okay, on the both side, okay, before the aorta and also before the pulmonary artery. Okay, sebelum darah tu keluar. Yeah, we have another valve. We call it semilunar. Dua-dua nama sama on the right and on the left side. Okay, so dap sound, okay, dap. So dap sound is produced. Okay, so this is the second sound when the semilunar valve close. Okay, so the blood from the ventricle, okay, will flow to the pulmonary artery kan, dia nak keluar. And then kalau dekat left side, dia akan go to the aorta. So dekat sini dah darah tu. So the valve will close. So semilunar valve close. So the sound is dap. Okay, simple je. Okay, so kalau lap, the first two tu, tricuspid dengan bicuspid close. Kalau dap, when the semilunar close, and then the blood will flow through the lungs and also to the body. Okay, settle about the sound. Okay, now last part. Contraction of skeletal muscle around the vein. Okay, girls. So to make the blood flow, okay, in our blood circulatory system, so we need the pumping of heart, betul? At the same time, we also need the contraction of skeletal muscle. Okay, so the pumping of heart help in distribution and flow of blood through the arteries, arterioles, and blood capillaries. Okay, that's why the pumping of heart is very important. So it gives pressure. Okay, give pressure and then it will distribute all the blood, okay, to whole body. Okay, so however, the force produced by the pumping of the heart is insufficient. Okay, for the blood flow to continue through the veins and return to the heart. So the pumping of heart ni girls is insufficient. Maksudnya dia not enough. Okay, to make the blood flow throughout the body because our body is quite large. Badan kita besar kan. So it needs another movement. Dia perlukan satu lagi proses. Okay, beside the pumping of heart. So we need the contraction of skeletal muscle. Okay, so besides the blood is forced to flow against the force of gravity, So the presence of valve in the vein ensures that the blood flow is one direction to the heart. Okay, so untuk bantu pergerakan darah ni, okay, so we need the contraction of skeletal muscle. And at the same time, kalau you perasan, the blood flow against the gravity. You belajar fizik kan? Gravity dia force something below, dia akan bawa ke bawah. Dia force kan, through the, dia akan ikutlah follow the gravity force. So now dia nak lawan, dia nak bawa balik darah ke jantung. Itu satu tekanan jugalah. So that's why we have the valve. Kita ada injak valve. Okay, that makes the blood not flow back. Okay, dia tak boleh patah balik. Dia mesti pergi ke jantung semula. Okay, so that's why we have valve. Kita ada valve dalam blood vessel. Okay, so the blood flow in the vein is assisted by, so siapa yang akan bantu lagi pergerakan darah ni? Okay, contraction of the smooth muscle found in the venule and vein wall. Okay, so we have the contraction of smooth muscle and also contraction of skeletal muscle around the vein. Okay, so the contraction of skeletal muscle presses and constrict the vein, causes the valve to open and allow blood to flow towards the heart. So the valve is then closed to prevent the blood from flowing back towards the foot. Ini yang berlaku dalam badan kita. So these two processes, okay, contraction of the smooth muscle and also contraction of the skeletal muscle help the movement of blood towards the heart. Okay, so kalau tengok gambar ni sangat jelas. Okay, you perasan tak? Kita ada, ialah kita ada dua kaki kan. Okay, dia ambil gambar ni sebelah kaki je lah. Okay, so kaki kita ni, so we have the vein, okay, that carry the blood. Okay, so vein ni dia carry, betul lah, dia carry blood towards the heart, akan bawa balik ke jantung. Okay, kalau arteri dia akan bawa ke seluruh badan lah. Okay, so sekarang kita nak cerita macam mana darah tu dia boleh patah balik pergi jantung against the gravity. So we need the contraction of muscle. Okay, so kalau you tengok sini, darah dia akan patah balik pergi jantung. Okay, so this is the muscle. Ini dalam keadaan kaki kita flat. Okay, kita tengah pijak tanah. Okay, kaki kita flat. So muscle is relaxed. Kaki kita relax, muscle tu. And then darah akan adalah dalam ni. Okay, so to give the push ataupun pressure, so bila kita angkat kaki kita macam tu, kita angkat. So bila kita angkat, what happen? The muscle will contract. Bila muscle contract, so dia akan open valve yang atas ni. So darah akan naik ke atas. Okay, so darah akan naik ke atas. Okay, so at the same time, below ni, valve below will close. So darah tu tak akan patah balik ke bawah. So darah tu akan pergi ke jantung. That's why kalau assembly, kalau you duduk macam ni, you berdiri lama-lama, you akan rasa macam mana? You akan rasa cramp kan, macam rasa kebas. That's why you akan gerak-gerakkan kaki you, supaya kadang-kadang darah tu kena naik ke atas. Kalau tak, nanti you akan rasa kaki you, kalau berdiri terlalu lama for 1 or 2 hours, you akan rasa kebas lah, you tak boleh you tak stable. Okay, boleh rasa nak pengsan. Okay, so that's why kita kena move our leg. So bila kita bergerak, kita berjalan, so we will control the opening and also the closing of valve. So then the blood will flow towards the heart. Sebab tu kalau assembly lama-lama, student dia tak bagi berdiri lama, nanti akan ada yang jatuh pengsan. You kena duduk. Because we need to make the blood flow. Kalau you duduk, tak ada masalah. Okay, so darah tu tak perlu nak pergi pressure terlalu tinggi. Kalau berdiri, lagi jauh perjalanan dia kan. So that's why kita kena selalu bergerak kaki tu. Tak boleh stand terlalu lama. Ya. Okay, do you have any question? So hari ni I dah cover pumping of heart and also the importance of contraction of muscle to help the flowing of blood. Okay, ada soalan tak? Any question? Okay ke?
Yes.
Yes. Alright. Okay, kalau okay, I nak sambung sikit lagi blood clotting. Boleh? Kita ada 15 minutes lagi. Hari ni I cover 2 subtopic. 10.3, 10.4. Okay, blood clotting ni senang. Tak susah pun. Cuma dia ada a few terms yang baru. Okay, jangan girls. Sebelum I proceed this subtopic, okay, can you please give me the new words for today about pumping of heart? Cuba sebut kat I. Apa word hari ni? Yang you belajar yang baru.
Myogenic.
Yes, very good. Myogenic. Okay, you tahulah apa kan function dia tadi. What is myogenic? What happened to the heart?
Myogenic heart is the characteristic of vertebrate where continuous rhythmic contraction occurs.
Okay, rhythmic contraction occurs without the impulses from the nervous system. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, next, after myogenic, then ada sinoatrium node, right? SA node. Okay, then?
AV node.
Very good. AV node, atrioventricular node. Okay, lagi? Ada lagi?
Pacemaker.
Pacemaker, yes, pacemaker. Then? Yang panjang tu apa? In the ventricle. Below the AV node.
Bundle of His.
Yes, bundle of His. And then the branches.
Purkinje fiber.
Yes, Purkinje fibers. Okay, put in your bio word ya. Lama tak check you punya bio word ni. Berapa bulan dah kita tak jumpa kan. So make sure you have 100, maybe more than 100, 200 something. Sebab now kita dah chapter 10. Okay, biasa dalam bio ni dia ada banyak word-word yang pelik-pelik kan. Itulah yang markah bagi you markah sebenarnya. Ya, okay. So now, we move to the next subtopic. Tadilah itu semua tadi word, lebih kurang ada 6 kot. Ya. Okay, so blood clotting. Okay, can you please give me the name of cell that give a function? Okay, very important for blood clotting. What is the name of the cell? What is the cell that control the blood clotting?
Red blood cell.
Yeah?
Red blood cell.
Red blood. Is it red blood cell? No. Red blood cell provide the oxygen and also the nutrient. Yeah, they transport the oxygen and nutrient. That one is the red blood cell function. For blood clotting, what is the cell?
Platelets.
Yes, platelet. Platelet control the blood clotting. Very important. Okay, so now, what is the necessity for blood clotting mechanism? Okay, why the blood need to clot? Kenapa dia kena clot? Kenapa dia kena membeku? Ya, clot ni. Okay, so what happen when your finger is injured? Tiba-tiba you tertoreh lah, kena pisau So blood will flow from the wound until you apply pressure directly on the wound. Kenapa kita pakai plaster kalau ada wound dekat kita punya ni? Because we need to give pressure. Kita kena balut dia so then the blood cannot flow. Sebab tu kita balut dia kan, so kita tutup. Okay, so the pressure you apply may appear to restrict bleeding temporarily. So dia boleh lah stop, okay, temporary. However, the blood flow is actually stopped by the blood clotting process. So actually something will happen. The process is called as blood clotting. Ini yang berlaku. Kalau tak nanti girls, dia boleh jadi bleeding. So bila bleeding, what will happen to our body? So we will lack of oxygen and then dia akan menjadi satu kematian pula. So the people will die because of the bleeding. Yeah. So that's why blood clotting is very important, sangat penting. So why must the blood clot on the wound? So ini selalu dia tanya dalam exam. Why blood clotting is very important? Okay, first, blood clotting will stop or minimize the loss of blood. okay, on the injured blood vessel. So it will stop the loss of blood. Okay, blood clotting also prevent microorganism such as bacteria from entering the bloodstream through the damaged blood vessel. So we don't want the bacteria or microorganism to enter our bloodstream. Okay, that's why we need the blood clotting. Kita perlukan blood clotting. Okay, next, the blood pressure is also maintained because excessive blood loss will lower blood pressure. Okay, girls, you know what happen if we have bleeding? So our blood pressure will become low, and then the heart will pump very slow. Okay, because it cannot receive enough blood. Okay, so what will happen? It will lower blood pressure. That's why blood clotting will maintain the blood pressure in our body. What is the reading of our blood pressure? Berapa reading blood pressure kita normal? Form 3 you belajar. So remember the number. Ingat lagi tak? Blood pressure punya reading normal. Lupa dah?
120 per
Good. Siapa tu? Pandai.
Kirtana.
Kirtana, very good Kirtana. 120/80, this is the normal reading for blood pressure. Kan kalau orang-orang tua, you punya parents ke ya, biasa dekat rumah ada satu alat. Dekat biolab ada alat tu. Dekat rumah pun I beli. Parents I dekat kampung pun ada. Sebab kita duduk rumah, kadang-kadang kita pressure, kita tak tahu okay, what happened to our blood pressure reading. Kalau pening-pening kepala tu something wrong, ya. So we need to take dia punya reading. Kita kena measure. Okay, so kalau normal, inilah bacaan dia, 120/80. Ada orang, kawan I guru disiplin, cikgu perempuan, sebaya dengan I, umur dekat-dekat 40, belum sampai 40 lah, muda lagi lah. You tahu reading dia berapa? 250 over something, I tak ingat berapa lah bawah ni. Tapi tak normal lah, not 80. So higher than 80, maybe 90 or 100 something. So nampak tak? Pressure dia very high. This is not normal reading. So dia boleh lead to, kita panggil sebagai, apa dia panggil? High pressure, okay, blood pressure high, and then dia boleh jadi stroke. Ini sangat bahaya. Okay, so this is the normal reading for human, untuk kita manusia. Ya. Okay, so blood clotting will maintain our blood pressure reading. Okay, kalau tak nanti dia akan jadi very low, dia akan jadi rendah daripada nilai ni. Okay, so next, how does blood clotting occur? So how it's happen? Macam mana dia berlaku? Okay, inilah yang sangat penting. Okay, tadi you ingat tahu why the blood clotting is very important, because of that three necessities, okay, keperluan dia. Sekarang kita nak tengok what happen during the blood clotting, apa proses yang berlaku. Okay, ini yang dia suka keluar dalam essay question. Okay, so blood clotting involve a series of chemical reaction that takes place in the blood when someone is injured to prevent excessive bleeding. Alright, so why we call as chemical reaction? Because it involve a few chemicals in our body. Dia ada nama-nama tertentu in our body, in our blood. Okay, so first, the coagulated platelet, okay, damaged cell and clotting factors in the blood plasma will form an activator we call as thrombokinase. Okay, thrombokinase, or ada orang sebut thrombokinase. Okay, so thrombokinase with the aid of calcium ion and vitamin K convert prothrombin to thrombin. Panjang kan nama dia. Ini dah dipanggil sebagai chemical reaction. Ada nama yang pelik-pelik. Okay, macam ni cerita dia. Bila orang tu luka, okay, dia ada luka dekat sini. You bayangkan dia bleeding dekat sini. You nampak ni darah ni keluar. Okay, so what will happen? Something will come here. Akan ada benda yang datang dalam ni. Dia akan pergi dekat wound tu. Okay, so yang akan datang tu adalah apa? Platelet. Okay, and then platelet ni dia akan produce thrombokinase. Okay, thrombokinase ni adalah chemical. Okay, that produce from the platelet and also in the blood plasma. Dipanggil sebagai activator. Okay, nama dia apa? Thrombokinase. Okay, so thrombokinase with the help of calcium ion and vitamin K So it will convert prothrombin to thrombin. Okay, so kalau kita tengok dalam gambar ni dia ada satu arrow. Okay, prothrombin. What is prothrombin? This is the inactive plasma protein. Dalam keadaan plasma protein yang tak aktif. So dia dalam keadaan cecair. Okay, so kita panggil dia prothrombin. So it will change to thrombin. Dia akan jadi thrombin. Okay, so dia akan jadi active plasma protein that act as an enzyme. Alright? Okay, so first step you ingat macam ni je. Platelet will come to the wound. At the same time, platelet will produce activator called as thrombokinase. Okay, so thrombokinase ni, with the help of vitamin K and also calcium ion, dia mesti ada 3. Thrombokinase, vitamin K, and also calcium ion. So it will convert prothrombin to thrombin. Okay. What is prothrombin and thrombin? Both are protein. Dua-dua ni adalah protein, cuma prothrombin dia adalah inactive. So now dia akan jadi aktif because dia nak tutup luka tu. Ya. Okay, so thrombin is the active plasma protein. Okay, so thrombin ni, okay, it will catalyzes the conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. This is the last step. So thrombin itself, dia akan convert fibrinogen to fibrin. Okay, so fibrinogen is soluble and then fibrin is insoluble. Okay, apa tu fibrinogen and fibrin? You perasan tak bila mula-mula you luka, dia akan ada satu layer yang color yellow, warna kuning. That is fibrin. Dia belum keras lagi. So kita panggil dia fibrinogen, ya, fibrinogen soluble. Dia masih dalam bentuk liquid, dia lembik-lembik. And then dia akan jadi fibrin insoluble. Dia akan jadi keras. Okay, ini yang warna coklat yang kering yang selalu you nak cabut dia. You selalu nak kutil-kutil dia. Kan? Kalau luka kan you suka cabut keruping. Dalam bahasa Melayu panggil keruping. So this is called as fibrin. Yeah, that's why kita sebut dia insoluble. Dia tak larut, dia keras. Okay? So fibrin is a thread-like protein fiber that forms a network on the wound surface to trap erythrocyte and close the wound to prevent blood loss. Ini yang sangat penting. Kalau you cabut dia, so now dia akan ada bleeding balik. So the platelet will do the same action. Kesian dia, lagi lambat nak habis. That's why kalau ada fibrin, ada keruping tu, you janganlah cabut-cabut dia. Kesian dekat platelet tu nak produce balik thrombokinase. Okay, nak tukar balik prothrombin to thrombin. So dia ambil masa kan. So inilah proses dia blood clotting. Boleh? Okay, tak apa. Maybe ini ada banyak terms juga kan. Okay, thrombokinase. Ingat dia ada best friend dia, vitamin K dengan calcium ion. Dan baru dia boleh convert prothrombin to thrombin. So thrombin dia akan convert fibrinogen to fibrin. Nama dia kalau you perasan daripada panjang dia jadi pendek. Ini pun nama panjang jadi pendek. So fibrin is the insoluble. Dia keras. Kita tak boleh cabut dia. Kalau cabut nanti darah akan keluar balik. Dia akan bleeding semula. So fibrinogen ni dia akan stop the bleeding. Dia akan close the wound. Ya. Okay, habis. Okay, last part. Health issues related to blood clotting. So what will happen to the human if there is no blood clotting? So there are a few diseases. Ada beberapa penyakit. Okay, the first one. Okay. Okay, ni I tak payah baca lah ya. Okay, so hemophilia. Perkataan pun hemo. So bila hemo you tahu, this is the type of diseases in the blood. Dalam darah. Hemo kan? So hemophilia. So what happened? Example of illness that prevent a blood from clot. Okay, so hemophilia is a heredity illness. Apa maksud dia? Dia diwarisi. Okay, caused by the lack of certain clotting factors in the blood. Maybe ada something yang lack. Maybe ada something problem with the platelet. Okay, maybe from the thrombokinase, prothrombin, thrombin. Adalah factor yang dia lack tadi. Okay, so what will happen? Excessive bleeding due to small wound or bruises can result in death. Bahaya kan? So kalau orang tu bersalin, you bayangkan kalau dia nak bersalinkan anak, ada bleeding tau. So kalau dia ada hemophilia, doktor memang kena ada supply blood. Dia kena ada get ready dengan blood lain. Takut dia ada pendarahan. So hemophilia is the inherited diseases, penyakit yang diwarisi, keturunan. So what will happen? It prevent blood from clot. Because the lack of the blood clotting factors. Blood clotting factors yang tadi yang kita bincang, nama-nama chemical tadi, maybe dia ada lack something. So next, thrombosis. Thrombosis pun ada nama tadi, thrombus kan, thrombokinase. Trom ni adalah penyakit darah. Thrombosis. What will happen? Formation of blood clot. Kita panggil blood clot itu adalah thrombus. Thrombosis happen as a result of damage in the blood vessel or sluggish blood flow that causes clotting factors to accumulate. Alright, so apa ni thrombosis? Thrombosis ni, darah tu tiba-tiba dia clot, dia membeku dalam blood vessel. Maybe because of the blood vessel tu ada bleed, ada wound, ataupun tiba-tiba dia clot sendiri, dia clotting. So next, embolism. What is embolism? When a blood clot is transported by blood flow, the blood clot is called embolus. So thrombosis dengan embolism ni dia ada relation. Kalau embolism ni, blood tadi dia, kalau thrombosis dia clotting and then dia stay in the blood vessel. Embolus ni lagi bahaya because bila dia clot, then tiba-tiba dia akan pecah, dia break and then dia flow to the heart. Dia akan pergi ke, mungkin dia akan pergi ke jantung. So if the embolus get stuck in the tiny blood vessel, the blood flow will stop. Dia akan hentikan pergerakan darah dalam blood vessel. Sekarang I share gambar sekejap. I tutup dulu slide ni. So ada berapa jenis penyakit dalam blood clotting? Ada 3. Hemophilia, thrombosis, embolism. I tunjuk gambar baru you boleh nampak dia punya beza dia. Cuba tengok gambar ni So this is our blood vessel, darah kita. Ni vein dia ambil gambar vein. So this is our blood flow normal. So dia akan flow smoothly. But here you can see dia ada blood clotting. Tiba-tiba je dia clot. Maybe ada wound dekat sini. Sometimes dia tak ada wound pun, tapi but suddenly the blood clot. So this is called as thrombosis. And then thrombosis ni dia akan jadi lagi teruk kalau dia break and then dia akan produce the embolus. So embolus ni dia can flow through the blood vessel and then tiba-tiba dia boleh stuck dekat mana-mana vessel. So dia akan stop the blood from flowing. Ini sangat bahaya. Bahayalah, kita kena banyak doa supaya tak berlaku benda ni dalam badan kita. So bila berlaku nanti dia akan reduce the oxygen and then the blood flow will stop. Sangat bahaya. Thrombosis and embolus. Sebab tu kita kena jaga pemakanan. Jangan makan benda yang tak bagus. So kena cukup oksigen lah dalam badan. Boleh. So ada 3 penyakit untuk blood clotting: hemophilia, thrombosis and embolus. So do you have any question? Ada soalan?
No, teacher.
Semua So hari ni, pagi ni I rasa I cover banyak juga benda. Pumping of heart and then blood clotting. So please do your handout. You dah print out belum handout tu? Dah print? Dah. Dah print, fill in the blanks Jangan buat kerja last minute. So look at your formative practice. Kita ada tutorial kan setengah jam. 10.1 you all dah buat belum? Formative practice? Belum I rasa. I tak bagi lagi tugasan formatif kan? Betul tak? I tak bagi lagi?
Yes.
So please do 10.1, number 1 to number 4. And then you buat 10.1 dengan 10.2 je hari ni. Number 1 to number 4 also. So there are 8 questions. 10.3 tak apalah, kita buat next class. Okay. So settle yang itu. Okay, soalan soalan masa cuti sekolah kita discuss next week. Okay, sekali dengan formative practice. Minggu ni I nak cover topik je dulu. Boleh? Okay, so I think that's all for today. Sekejap double check kehadiran. Kartika Shri tak ada. Karindra tak ada. Kirti tak ada. Lim pun tak ada. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Kenapa yang dah ramai tak ada ni? Dia start daripada Friday hari tu. 12/16 only. Kena ada rasa macam ni rasa takut jugalah kan. Nak exam, next year dah nak SPM. Tolong sedarkan kawan-kawan juga. Siapa yang hadir ni bagus, kuatkan semangat. Yelah, I faham bukan senang nak belajar menghadap laptop dengan kita tak ada dalam kelas kan. I pun sebenarnya penat juga menghadap laptop hari-hari macam ni. Tapi kita terpaksa lah girls. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So kita jumpa in the next class. Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay,
Thank you, teacher.
okay, bye. Welcome.